Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Hernan Cortez II, or Rico Jr., as you might otherwise know me, here with another episode of Torah in 10, your weekly dose of Torah in context in 10 minutes or less. This week's Parasha is Parasha Terumah, or Exodus 25:1 to 27:19. Let's get started. Portion recap. Terumah is about crafting a true sacred space. And really the message that I feel is the most important in this portion, at least within this part of the portion, because all the elements are extremely important. And it's always important to measure the pattern and to understand and to know the context of what is being instructed from Hashem to Moses on how to build this tabernacle, how to build this Mishkan, to glorify Adonai and that he may dwell among his people, which is the main driving force of this message, which I have today, which is coming from chapter 25, verse 8. Let them construct a sanctuary for me that I may dwell among them. This is extremely significant because cases like this don't happen in the ancient world, right? Humans in the ancient world, according to the ancient and Near Eastern theologies of the Mediterranean and the Egyptians and the Babylonians, pretty much everybody within the Levant as well, including the Canaans, including the Canaanites, believe that humanity was created to serve the gods and that we are subject to them not of our own choice or our own will or own accord, but because we must rely on them, because if we don't satisfy the gods, then we will pay the price and we will die without any real choice in the matter. The biggest difference now is you have Hashem, the one true God, saying, I wish to dwell among you, which is something that never happens. And this is something that is fundamentally counterculture to the entirety of the ancient Near East, being that the one true God is a righteous God who doesn't want to enslave his people, who doesn't want to crush them under the burden of tyranny, but he wants to lift them up so that we may live equitably, we may live fairly, we may live together in echad as one in worship of him, so that we may show all the nations of the beauty and the fruits of the covenant. And on the note of the covenant, it's interesting that Hashem only states he wants to dwell with Israel and provides instructions to do so after everybody affirms the covenant and everyone has it affirmed by the binding of blood. So once the blood is sprinkled and the covenant is affirmed, now at this new level of holiness do we see Hashem saying, now I wish to dwell with you. Now you're at the point where I may be amongst you. Unfortunately, very soon we're going to see Israel make a fatal mistake, which will cut them off for a little while from the direct presence of Hashem. However, the mercy of allowing us to still build the tabernacle and still have that access to the heavenly realm and to Adonai is in and of itself a true mercy and a true blessing. Within the events of Terumah, God provides an instruction on his chosen 13 elements for the tabernacle. The design given by God to Moshe, interestingly, begins with the holiest item and works its way out. And it's important to remember that the instructions to build the tabernacle were only given after Israel affirmed the covenant with God. And once they reached that new level of holiness, then Adonai wanted to initiate with the people this new level of intimacy and connection. Did you know other nations of the ancient Near East would also put the elements of their covenant into an ark and place it at the feet of their deity or of their god? The tabernacle layout of the courts with the entrance to the east was a familiar concept to the Israelites, which is why really no one questioned these things whenever it was passed from Moses to the people, since even Pharaoh was known to construct his war camp in a similar fashion, with the entrance facing the east and his throne room facing at the very center on the far west side. Unique dye colors like blue and purple likely came from an ancient snail called a murex snail. Question time. What other examples of sacred lampstands are used in the ancient Near East? Where have cherubim been seen before in the Torah? And finally, the Ark of the Covenant is known as the throne of God, but what else is it known as? Happy studying, and Shabbat Shalom, everybody.